with a look at the French papers, and Ukraine is, of course, the top story.
Indeed it is, Aurora. Hi to you. And I want to go straight away to the newspaper Libération, which has one of the strongest, most striking images that we're seeing out of Kiev. It is not pretty viewing. It shows a young man, a victim of the violence in Ukraine. And the headline for Libération is "Betrayed by Europe." The caption to that Libération story is that he is wounded. The young man has respiratory problems. He is in distress as he's being taken from Independence Square in Kiev. Now, Libération is saying 90 pro-EU demonstrators were killed in 2 days. The paper there saying the police firing on them using live ammunition, as we've been reporting on our news bulletins. Now, that paper's editorial, Aurora, is saying that the worst-case scenario is taking place. European leaders have allowed President Viktor Yanukovych and his ally, Russian President Vladimir Putin, to kill, torture and beat up thousands of Ukrainians ready to protest and die for a European ideal. And I just wanted to give you a quote from the editorial in the Libé this Friday. This is it. How many people, Aurora, have to die in Ukraine for the European Union to react? The example of Syria, another of Putin's clients, shows courage is not one of the main qualities of European leaders.
Right, and other French papers are also pointing to the inaction of the EU.
Well, this is Le Figaro covering the diplomatic angle. You can see the headline, "Forcing diplomatique to stop the bloodbath." Now it says that the gunshots broke out as the foreign ministers, including France's Laurent Fabius, were in Kiev. They had to change their location of their meeting. Now, the front page editorial for Le Figaro is headlined, "Combat Diplomacy." It's arguing that time has been wasted, Aurora. Western European leaders clearly underestimate Putin's desire to regain influence for Russia. It says that no policy on Ukraine can work at all if the whole strategy towards Russia is in some way revisited, reviewed.
And that focus on Russia and on Putin is very much the angle that Aujourd'hui en France has taken, which headlines, "Putin defies Europe."
Well, that is Putin défie l'Europe. That's the headline for Le Parisien Aujourd'hui en France. It's arguing that his shadow hangs over all the events that we're seeing in Kiev and across Ukraine, as well as in the discussions and negotiations. In its inside pages, it chooses a picture of him in sunglasses looking like the Godfather. And that is, in fact, what the headline is. Putin, Godfather of the Kiev regime. Putin le parrain. Now, Le Parisien Aujourd'hui en France is arguing that he is obsessed by returning Russia to a central place in international affairs. He wants Russia to be treated as an equal. He wants it to get back the kind of Soviet-style influence it had decades ago.
Well, La Croix, the Catholic daily, sees some hope in the current situation.
Well, that is incredible, Aurora. I mean, what we're seeing does not inspire you to think that there is hope at this point. But yes, La Croix is saying hope in mediation amid an escalation in violence. Again, showing a moving picture of a young man in tears crying in Independence Square in Kiev. Now, the editorial for La Croix says there's no choice but dialogue. The spiral of violence makes compromise unlikely. Putin will have to agree to joint mediation efforts with European Union leaders, and that's the only way to go really for that. Now, I just want to end on the Business Daily, again leading on this whole crisis in Ukraine. It's headlining "Carnage in Kiev." Business Daily, Les Echos. The headline, "Carnage in Kiev, Europe indignant and responding." And it says Paris, Berlin and Moscow are working together to end the worst violence seen in almost 20 years in Europe. And that paper too, and its inside pages, has a look at some other countries in difficulty that could be on the verge of exploding. Turkey, where we've seen big protests and a big corruption scandal. Thailand, the army's hovering there, isn't it? Bangladesh, where there's a textile industry disputes and problems. Cambodia, where the government has shot on fire on protesters. And the other country is I've forgotten, but the 4 out of the 5 for you.
All right, do make sure we'll read that article. And thank you very much, Nicholas Rushworth, for that press review. And we're going to have a short break now, but don't go away because Focus is up in just a few moments. We'll travel to wind farms and hydroelectric plants in Spain. It's the first time green power is the country's #1 source of energy, but we'll find out why the industry is at risk. Also coming up in sports, a full roundup at the Sochi Olympic Games. Thanks for watching France 24.